Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing day 11 of KaffeBox's Advent Calendar, featuring the Hambela Wamena Natural Processed Ethiopia from Supreme Roastworks. And there's the container right there. And let's talk a little bit about Supreme Roastworks. So based off KaffeBox's Instagram page, it says they are a cafe and roastery based in the Norwegian capital. They originally operated as a wholesale account with restaurants, cafes around the city since 2008 and opened their first retail location in 2013. So hopefully one day I'll get to review their cafe in person, but this is the first time I'm ever trying their coffee. And I had heard a little bit about them while doing some research for either the area or other coffee roasters, and they seem to have a lot of praise, so I was looking very forward to actually trying their coffee. And this is my first coffee from Oslo ever, so a lot of firsts on this one. And the information for this coffee, of course, I brewed it at 201 degrees at 15 to 1 through the Chemex, and it is a standard Nordic light roast for the roast profile. But let's start talking about this coffee, and I'm going to be looking at the tasting wheel as I talk about this coffee because this coffee was a little bit more, I guess, trickier than I had expected. When I poured the first bloom, I wasn't able to get a really strong aroma from anything, and after I took the first sip, nothing was standing out to me. It was a little bit fruity, and my assumption was maybe some sort of natural, either Central American or even South American coffee. And as I sipped a little bit more, what I noticed about this coffee was it definitely got better as it cooled down, and a lot more of the complexity was from it cooling down. And that's the case with a lot of coffees, but I want to focus on this one. It was a lot more notable in this one. The more it cooled down, definitely, the much cooler temperatures, you were getting way more flavor from it. And if I recall correctly, there was a point initially, it was probably some light red berries, and then as it cooled down a little more, some slight fleshy fruits, and then as it cooled down a little bit more, some lemon, before reverting back to a pretty notable red berry fruit. But at its peak temperature, I would say the thing that I enjoyed the most was there were some really nice florals that I might describe as a bit of rose that I really enjoyed in this coffee. Kind of the flavor profile I was getting mostly from it. And let me go ahead and put up the tasting wheel right now so you can see what I was getting. And the only thing that really reached a 4 was the lingering finish, because it has a very lasting finish, especially initially on this coffee. They did note on the Instagram page that the flavor profile they have listed is fruity and intense, and just for me, I wouldn't necessarily describe this coffee as intense, and I always pin it on me saying I didn't brew it right or I didn't taste it right, whatever the case may be, if I wasn't able to match what they label the coffee as. Or maybe after yesterday's super wild coffee, this one just didn't come off as intense, but I don't know, it wasn't overly intense because nothing here like overly stands out, nothing I gave a 4. Even the fruits kind of peaked at a 3 for me. Overall though, I mean, it's really nicely balanced, I guess, for a natural Ethiopia, because natural Ethiopias tend to skew in one direction or another quite a bit, especially in the fruitiness, and that's typically what I like for my natural Ethiopias. So this one right here, I guess a little bit more of a, weird to say, crowd pleaser natural Ethiopia, something that, while complex, especially at the cooler temperatures, is something that I guess maybe a lot of people wouldn't necessarily expect from a natural Ethiopia. But you can't pigeonhole coffee, so I guess that makes a lot of sense. Who would I suggest this coffee to? I think there are two people. I think there are people that maybe are still getting a little bit more acquainted with the naturals, and those people, they can maybe appreciate this coffee more because it's not the overly wild and funky fruits that you would get from this. And I think the other people is somebody that really likes to kind of pick out those fruit flavors as they develop from coffee cooling down overall. I think you have both an intro to naturals and somebody that is a little bit more versed and experienced with them, trying to, I guess, figure out this coffee, because again, I'm going to pin this on me saying I didn't get it correctly. But I'm looking forward to their second coffee, and we'll see what happens on the next one. I will leave it at that. If you've tried Supreme Roastworks and this coffee, please let me know what you thought. If you're enjoying the content, give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But this right here has been a review of the Hambela Wamena Natural Processed Ethiopia from Supreme Roastworks. Thank you for watching.